Imagine a family whose influence spans centuries, shaping economies, governments, and even wars. The Rothschild family has long been the subject of fascination and speculation, with their vast wealth and global reach inspiring both admiration and fear. But what if their actions go beyond mere business dealings? What if they are unwittingly or intentionally fulfilling a biblical prophecy? Could their influence be tied to the Bible's warning about a one-world government? The Bible warns of a coming global empire, a one-world system where power and control are consolidated under a single authority. In Revelation 13, it describes a time when no one can buy or sell without a specific mark, an economic and political system designed to dominate every aspect of life. The Rothschilds, often referred to as one of the wealthiest families in history, have been linked to the kind of global financial control that mirrors this prophecy. But is this connection fact or fiction? The Rothschild family's story begins in 18th century Frankfurt, where Meyer Amschel Rothschild established a banking empire. Through his 5 sons, the family created an unprecedented network of financial power stretching across Europe and beyond. Over time, they became synonymous with wealth, influence, and secrecy. Some claim that their ability to fund nations and control central banks gave them a hand in shaping world events, from the Napoleonic Wars to modern geopolitics. Critics argue that this level of influence isn't just about money, it's about power. By funding both sides of wars and influencing governments through financial leverage, the Rothschilds are said to have created a system where nations are perpetually in debt, and they hold the strings. This mirrors the Bible's warning in Proverbs 22:7. The borrower is slave to the lender. Could this economic domination be the foundation for a one-world government? The idea of a one-world government isn't just a biblical prophecy. It's a concept that has been discussed by political leaders, scholars, and conspiracy theorists alike. Proponents argue that a unified system could bring peace and stability. But the Bible warns that such a system would come at a cost: the loss of freedom and the rise of a global power that demands total allegiance. Revelation 13:7 describes this power as having authority over every tribe, people, language, and nation. For those who see the Rothschilds as central to global finance, their influence feels like a step toward this reality. The family's role in the creation of central banks has only fueled this speculation. Central banks control the money supply and influence economies, and the Rothschilds have been linked to many of the world's most powerful ones, including the Bank of England and the Federal Reserve. Critics argue that this centralized financial system is the backbone of a one-world government, where a small group holds power over the masses. But what makes this connection to prophecy even more compelling is the secrecy surrounding the Rothschilds. Despite their immense influence, the family remains notoriously private, fueling theories about their true intentions. Some claim they are behind efforts to unify global currencies, eliminate cash, and create a digital economy, steps that could lead to the kind of economic control described in Revelation. Whether or not the Rothschilds are fulfilling biblical prophecy, their story raises profound questions about power, control, and the future of humanity. The Bible's warnings about a one-world system aren't just about economics. They're about the spiritual battle between freedom and submission. As the world becomes increasingly interconnected, the line between these two forces grows thinner. Could the Rothschild family's influence be paving the way for the one-world government foretold in the Bible? Imagine a system so vast and interconnected that it shapes the lives of billions without them even realizing it. The Rothschild family's influence over global finance and politics has sparked both fascination and suspicion. Some call them visionaries, architects of modern banking. Others see them as shadowy figures pulling the strings behind the scenes. But could their reach align with the Bible's warning of a one-world government? The Bible's prophecy warns of a centralized system where economic, political, and spiritual power converge. Revelation 13:16-17 describes a system where no one could buy or sell unless they had the mark. Critics argue that the Rothschilds' vast network of banks and investments mirrors this prophecy, creating a financial structure that consolidates control. By the 19th century, The Rothschild banking empire extended across Europe, funding monarchies, wars, and industries. They weren't just lenders, but power brokers. Some claim their financial backing influenced major conflicts, including the Napoleonic Wars. Their alleged ability to fund both sides of wars led to accusations that they thrived on chaos, profiting while nations crumbled. The real power of the Rothschilds lies in central banking. Central banks control the money supply, set interest rates, and influence global economies. Critics argue this system centralizes power, creating a hierarchy where nations and individuals depend on unseen forces. Revelation 18:23 warns, "Your merchants were the world's important people. By your magic spell all the nations were led astray." Could this magic spell reflect financial manipulation? The family's connection to institutions like the Bank of England and allegedly the Federal Reserve has fueled theories about their role in a unified global system. Critics argue global institutions like the IMF and World Bank pave the way for a one-world economy, consolidating power in the hands of a few. Beyond banking, the Rothschilds' influence extends into media, energy, and education. This diversification raises concerns about their role in controlling resources, information, and public opinion. The Bible's prophecy of a one-world government warns of a system where power isn't just economic, it's ideological. Revelation 13:7 describes a beast with authority over every tribe, people, language, and nation. Could this reflect the ultimate goal of a system shaped by global elites? The family's notorious secrecy fuels further intrigue. Rarely granting interviews or making public appearances, they've become a symbol of hidden power. Are they working toward a better world or fulfilling a prophecy of domination? Critics allege their involvement in efforts to unify currencies and push for a cashless society reflects a larger agenda. A cashless economy controlled by centralized systems could strip individuals of financial autonomy, aligning with the Bible's warning about a world where no one could buy or sell unless they had the mark. The rise of digital currencies has added fuel to these theories. Central bank digital currencies, CBDCs, being developed worldwide, are seen as a precursor to the kind of control described in Revelation. Critics argue that the Rothschilds, through their financial networks, are poised to benefit from and influence this transition. For the average person, this interconnected global system shifts power further away from individuals, leaving them increasingly reliant on structures they cannot control. The Bible reminds us in Psalm 146, verse 3, "Do not put your trust in princes, in human beings who cannot save." As the Rothschilds' influence continues to shape the world, the question remains, are we moving toward unity or control? Imagine a world where power is concentrated in the hands of a few, wealth flows upward, and global systems operate on a delicate balance. The Rothschild family's influence in global finance, along with ties to central banking and global institutions, raises unsettling questions about the stability of our interconnected economy. Could this system, driven by profit and control, align with the Bible's prophecy of a one-world government? And is it destined to collapse? The Bible warns that systems built on greed and exploitation are inherently unstable. Revelation 18:10 describes the fall of Babylon, a global economic powerhouse. "Woe! Woe to you, great city, you mighty city of Babylon! In 1 hour your doom has come." This sudden collapse reflects the fragility of centralized power. Critics argue that the Rothschilds' influence mirrors these vulnerabilities. The family's involvement in central banking is seen as a key factor in this fragility. Central banks control the flow of money, influencing inflation, interest rates, and national debt. Critics claim this system places nations at the mercy of financial elites, creating dependence and control. The Rothschilds' alleged ties to major central banks, including the Federal Reserve, fuel theories about their role in a global system destined to collapse, as described in Revelation. The concept of a unified global economy linked to the Rothschilds' influence promises efficiency, but also dangerous dependency. A failure in one part could ripple across the globe. Critics argue this vision aligns with the Bible's prophecy of centralized control under a one-world government. The rise of digital currencies, particularly central bank digital currencies, CBDCs, adds another layer. CBDCs, which allow governments to monitor and control transactions, are seen by some as a precursor to the mark of the beast described in Revelation 13, 16, 17. Critics claim the Rothschilds, through their financial networks, are positioned to influence this transition. Beyond finance, the family's investments in media, energy, and technology shape public opinion and access to resources. Critics see this as part of a broader strategy to control societies. Revelation 18:3 warns of merchants who grew rich from her excessive luxuries, reflecting concerns about wealth and power concentrated in the hands of a few. The secrecy surrounding the Rothschilds deepens speculation. Rarely granting interviews or appearing publicly, they've become symbols of hidden power. Are they safeguarding their privacy or working behind the scenes to shape a new world order? Economic inequality grows as billions struggle to meet basic needs, while a small elite amasses vast wealth. The Bible reminds us in Matthew 6:24, "You cannot serve both God and money." Critics argue that the Rothschilds' influence reflects a system where wealth is idolized, creating moral and economic imbalances that cannot last. Is this influence deliberate, or the result of a system that rewards those at the top? While defenders praise their success as innovation, others see their role as evidence of a larger plan tied to biblical prophecy. The Bible's depiction of Babylon's fall warns of centralized power's dangers. As the global economy becomes more interconnected, the line between unity and control blurs. The Rothschilds' role in this system raises profound questions about the future. Are we building a system destined to collapse like Babylon, or moving closer to the one-world government foretold in prophecy? The Bible's prophecy of Babylon's fall is not just a tale of ancient times, it's a warning for the present. As global systems grow increasingly interconnected, the Rothschild family's role in shaping finance and politics raises profound questions about the balance of power in our world. Are we approaching a moment of unity, or the fulfillment of a prophecy about control and collapse? Revelation 18:8 declares Babylon's fate. Her plagues will overtake her in one day: death, mourning, and famine. She will be consumed by fire, for mighty is the Lord God who judges her. This sudden and total collapse serves as a reminder of the dangers of placing trust in systems driven by greed and power. Critics argue that the Rothschilds' influence reflects the very foundations of this fragile global order, where centralized control leaves billions vulnerable to a single point of failure. Central banking, where the Rothschilds allegedly hold sway, is at the heart of this system. Central banks wield immense power over economies, controlling interest rates and money supply. Critics claim this centralization creates a global hierarchy where nations depend on unseen forces for economic stability. A collapse in one part of the system could trigger a domino effect, bringing about the kind of devastation described in Revelation. But the prophecy isn't just about economics, it's about spiritual consequences. Revelation 18:4 warns, "Come out of her, my people, so that you will not share in her sins." This plea highlights the importance of separating from systems that prioritize profit over morality. As digital currencies and cashless economies rise, critics fear these technologies will strip individuals of autonomy, making them increasingly reliant on centralized control. The Rothschilds' alleged involvement in such systems has only deepened suspicions about their role in fulfilling biblical warnings. The secrecy surrounding the family amplifies these concerns. The Rothschilds, despite their influence, maintain a low profile, fueling speculation about their intentions. Are they architects of a better future, or do their actions align with a prophecy of domination? Revelation 18:23 describes Babylon's merchants as the world's great men who led nations astray with their magic spell. To their critics, the Rothschilds embody this description, wielding influence that seems almost beyond comprehension. But what does this mean for the rest of humanity? As wealth and power concentrate in the hands of a few, inequality continues to grow. The Bible warns against placing faith in worldly systems, reminding us in Proverbs 11:28, "Those who trust in their riches will fall." This verse echoes the prophecy of Babylon's fall, where reliance on material wealth leads to ruin. Critics argue that the Rothschilds' influence reflects a world where money has become an idol, overshadowing moral and spiritual values. Yet the debate over their role is far from settled. While some view the Rothschilds as the architects of a one-world government, others see them as scapegoats for a system that rewards the powerful. Their defenders argue that their success is rooted in innovation and vision, not conspiracy. But for those who connect their influence to biblical prophecy, the evidence is hard to ignore. The prophecy of Babylon's fall is more than a warning about destruction. It's a call to action. Revelation urges us to resist systems that exploit and divide, to prioritize faith and morality over wealth and power. As the world becomes increasingly interconnected, these warnings feel more urgent than ever. Before you leave, reflect on what this prophecy means for our world today. The Rothschilds' influence isn't just about money, it's about the systems we rely on, the choices we make, and the future we're building. Babylon fell in 1 hour. Could our world face the same fate?